Good evening and welcome to Real Talk with Jazz. It is me, your host, Jasmine Strachan, and tonight we will be discussing cultural appropriation in the fashion industry. This is the first part of my two-part series centered around racial diversity, or the lack thereof, in the fashion world. So please sit back and enjoy the ride, because tonight we will be uncovering the realities of this industry. For those who do not know, cultural appropriation is the act of taking or misusing ideas, concepts, or items from a culture that is not your own. This is problematic because in most cases the misuse of it results in disrespect. In essence, it is the mistreatment of cultural practices and representations which makes it difficult to celebrate them on other people. So if we dive right into it, we have to address the evident examples of cultural appropriation that we've seen throughout pop culture, that we've seen in the fashion industry, that we've seen on social media. It's constant, it happens, and a lot of times it's overlooked. Personally, because I think that there is a lack of understanding or a lack of truly acknowledging what is going on, so it makes it difficult for us to really recognize that, okay, wow, this is wrong. And in hindsight, it just continues to happen because nobody, one, really knows that it's wrong, and two, doesn't really know how to go about fixing it. Like, for example, the idea of braided hair. We have to acknowledge that for a woman of color, when she has her hair braided or she has her hair in a particular style, whether that be an afro, whether that's braids, whether that's beads, or she has different designs in her hair, that more often than not, it is not accepted in the workforce. It's kind of looked down upon. It's not really favored. No one really likes it. Whereas when we watch TV and we watch movies and we see these, or we see, our friend or our neighbor or whatever the case may be, who is not a person of color, who has decided to go off to the Caribbean for a vacation, for time off, or whatever, the situation is, they have the opportunity to go off to vacation, get their hair braided, get all these different designs in their hair, have a great time, and when they return, it's looked at as, oh my gosh, they went and they got their hair done, it's so cute, they were trying to be a part of the culture, this is what they do here, and I wanted to be a part of that. When in essence, the difficulty stems from the fact that we don't accept it from the people that it actually derives from here in America. We don't accept it on the black women. We don't accept it on the Puerto Rican women, on the Dominican women, or any women of color who happens to want to carry their, hold their hair like that or keep their hair in that style. Whereas it's okay when we have a person who is not of color to go off and have a good time and it's completely overlooked. Things like that are something that constantly happens. We don't necessarily always think about it, but it's definitely something that, we see happening often. The idea of accents, especially in like the hip hop and rap culture, or, the music culture for soul and R&B, there's a particular style that, most black artists or most, there's a tone, there's a delivery in the way that they deliver their music. And there are times that we see that in a sense gets appropriated from the fact that someone who may not be black, or they may not be a black artist, or they may not be an artist of color, they come and they see and they in essence take from that and they use that as the blueprint to say, okay, this is how I'm going to deliver my music. This is how I want to do it, because they think that this is how it needs to be done. They have this idea that, it's better when it's done this way, and that's the way I'm going to do it. But then, we ridicule and we ostracize and we talk down upon the artists and the rappers who are actually doing this. This is actually their culture. This is their craft. But we don't want to necessarily give them credit for that. It's really sticky. It's really, really sticky. It's unfair. And I think we have to really discover a way to kind of get out of that and bypass that, because, at the end of the day, we always have to give credit where credit is due. And if we're not going to properly, give the accolades and the credit to the people who are doing the things, and this is their culture, and this is how they, this is how they represent themselves, then it needs to be unfair and looked down upon to everybody if that's the way we're going to go about it. See, it can be difficult to determine what is cultural appropriation versus cultural exchange versus appreciation, according to Bustle's website. And that is where fixing the problem will begin. It's okay for you to like something that you saw while you were visiting Thailand or visiting Jamaica. There's appreciation and then there's appropriation. And we need to start pushing ourselves and pushing the agenda toward appreciation versus keeping it stuck in the appropriation phase, because that's where we are right now. I hope you enjoyed part 1, because part 2 will be dropping soon. Please tune in to join me again very, very soon.